The heat advisory in effect for Dallas-Fort Worth this morning. Experts ask all of us to take precautions to stay safe. The MedStar ambulance service outlines 5 tips to avoid heat-related sickness. Hydrate, ventilate, wear light-colored, loose-fitted clothing, limit what you do outside, and make sure you check on your loved ones.
The heat was too much for some people. MedStar, which serves Tarrant County, says 12 people in Fort Worth had to be treated for heat-related issues yesterday. 4 of those were at the Fort Worth 4th celebration. 5 of those 12 went to the hospital. All are expected to be okay.
Well, speaking of all that heat, MedStar says the heat is taking a toll on North Texans. Since May 1st, they've responded to 395 heat-related calls. That's in comparison to 198 this time last year, up nearly 200% since. 258 of those calls have required transport when 141 calls needed it last year. The age range for these victims between 1 month and 101 years old. So basically that means everyone is affected. 63% of those who have been affected were men.
News at 6.
New heat warnings are in place as temperatures get even hotter this week. The mercury is expected to climb past 100 degrees. North Texas health leaders are urging everyone to use caution and stay aware of the danger. Tarrant County's ambulance service, MedStar, has triggered its extreme weather protocol. That means patients outside in unprotected areas will receive higher priority response.
And the triple-digit temperatures not only contributing to grass fires, but they're also making many of you sick. MedStar wants you to be aware that the heat might be too much for you. 12 people in Fort Worth had to be treated for heat-related issues across the city yesterday. 4 of those were at the Fort Worth 4th celebration. MedStar only covers Tarrant County, by the way, just to give you some perspective. So there could be a lot more people than that who got sick from the heat if you start factoring in all of our other counties. Now, if you're planning on doing anything in the sun today, some advice to keep in mind: drink more than 8 ounces of water a day, even if you're not thirsty. Be sure to use sunscreen, especially if you're going to be outside between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And don't forget to pack your sunshades.
Helping us kind of track the heat and ways to prepare, we've got Nicole Nielsen out at Clyde Warren Park. Nicole, what do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, well, Annalise, I can tell you it is already hot out here, and it's only 5 a.m., so make sure that you dress appropriately over the next few days. We know we have a stretch of those 100-degree temperatures headed our way, and, you know, that's why many are getting prepared. Dallas Fire Rescue says since last Friday, they've received at least 40 heat-related calls. To stay on top of the concern, they plan to add in more fire trucks to swap out crews and have specially designed community paramedics doing medical outreach for those in the elements. Now, over in Fort Worth, MedStar says they have responded to almost 400 calls since May 1st, which is nearly double this time last year.
We appreciate it. This morning, MedStar told us that since May 1st, they have responded to 4 calls for kids that have been left inside of a hot car. MedStar is the ambulance service for Fort Worth, and no surprise it hit with hotter temperatures earlier this year compared to last. The heat responses, those are way up. They've already had 395 calls since May 1st, and that's compared to nearly 200 at the same time last year. So that gives you an idea of just how busy they are. 258 people had to be taken to the hospital, with 15 taken in critical condition. A reminder for you, the heat is very dangerous if you have to be out and about this afternoon, or if you are in a home with no air conditioning. So keep an eye on your neighbors and those in the vulnerable sector of our communities.
It's important to keep your soil as moist as possible. Kevin Reese explains why your home's foundation needs attention, and so do you.
When it's more than 100 degrees outside, the usual precautions apply, and
we have been extremely busy.
The usual medical emergencies happen. MedStar telling us that heat-related calls from May until now are up nearly 90% over the same time last year.
And if you start feeling dizzy, nauseous, start cramping up in any kind of fashion like that, stop sweating, that's when you probably need to start listening to your body and take a break.